Greetings. It is vitally important to your spiritual survival to be able to distinguish your own voice, the voice of your own consciousness, your own divine guidance, from the legions of voices in media and social media today. Everywhere we turn, we're constantly being assaulted by opinions, assumptions, analysis, summations, right? Judgments, constantly, every single day. You absolutely must be able to tell the difference between those voices and your voice, the voice of your own divine guidance, your own desires, your own will, the unfolding of your highest timeline. Greetings, everyone. My name is Pangea Northstar. I am a Reiki healer, a sound therapist, an attraction coach, and so much more. I'm so glad to be here with you guys tonight. My question for you all tonight is, do you hear yourself? Greetings to everyone coming into the room. We got Jatin, we've got Marilyn, my aunt. Thank you guys so much for giving greetings as you come into the room. And I'm really looking forward to hearing you guys' opinion on this tonight, to getting you guys input on this tonight. Have you noticed that it has become and is becoming increasingly more difficult to hear your own voice above the voices, the legions of voices around you? Greetings, Zena Electra. So, you all, what are we really pointing toward here tonight? We are pointing toward the idea that there is a voice within you, and I am talking about literally within you, right? A being that lives in the spaces, right? In the spaces between tissue and bone, in the water component of your blood, the liquid components of your body, right? In the deep subconscious of your mind, there is a voice that is urging you in a particular direction, always pointing toward your reason for being here. If you can sense that within yourself, give me some hearts in the chat. Tell me an example of what does that feel like to you to hear from your own internal guidance. Personally, for me, mine has saved my life on many occasions, literally saved my life on many occasions, okay? When I'm talking about your spiritual survival, I open this conversation by saying it's vital to your spiritual survival to be able to distinguish your own voice, the voice of your own highest self, from the many voices that are out here, okay? And it's not always just online. This can be friends and family members as well. It's amazing the opinions that are volunteered about what you're doing with your life and what'll be best for you. It's amazing. But people feel that they may know better than you what's best for you. And I'm here to remind you that no one knows better than you what is best for you. But so often, it's so common, it's so easy now for our own voices to be drowned out amidst the flurry of information coming at us all the time. It could be something that's meant to be funny, something that's meant to be informational, something that's meant to spark your curiosity, something that is fear-mongering, that is meant to scare you, right? But all these messages, whether it's advertisements, news reports, podcasts, just like this, right, are meant to make you feel something, which causes you to think something and eventually take some sort of action, right? So we have to be aware, we have to be conscious and aware that we're being influenced by things around us. And when the information coming in is in contradiction to the information going out, the information coming out from inside of you, coming up from inside of you, there's a tension that is created. There's a great amount of tension that emerges from inside of you when what's coming in is contradictory to what's coming up from the inside of you. Okay? If you've ever experienced this tension, give me some hearts in the chat. This can look like anxiety. This can look like depression. This can look like cognitive dissonance, right? Many people are experiencing cognitive dissonance on their jobs because they're being asked to do things that they really don't agree with, or they know is not really serving the highest good of the group they're supposed to be serving, right? But because this is what the company is paying me to do, this is what I do every day. That's an example of cognitive dissonance, okay? So you guys, it's very important that we begin to practice and to master listening inward. Listening inward. Listening to what's coming up from inside of us. This is absolutely important to your spiritual survival at this time. When I say spiritual survival, I'm talking about knowing who you are and continuing to grow in who you are and not becoming a mold, a drone, a clone of who someone else says that you should be based on your demographic, right? Based on your gender, your age, your sexual orientation, your ethnicity, where you live. All of these things, that all the information that is collected, think about the information that gets collected when you join a new social media platform. It could even be a dating app. These are your demographics, right? These are your demographics. Based on that set of information, your age, your race, where you live, how much you make, your gender, someone has already planned a particular route for you, a certain set of opinions, of emotions, of decisions that's already pre-planned for you. If you've ever sensed that, give me some hearts in the chat. If you had a situation where you feel like, I sense that certain information is being funneled to me based on who I am or who I appear to be, right? I sense that there's an agenda out here that, is asking me, inviting me to think in a certain way. And it's more than a subtle invitation. It's forceful. It's forceful at this point. Okay? But your mind and your body is telling you that this does not agree with you. Okay? Let's look at, one of the ways that people set out to master inward listening is meditation. And that is wonderful. That's wonderful. If you listen to, been a follower of this channel, a subscriber to this channel for any length of time, you already know I'm a big proponent of meditation and visualization. All right. Love it. But that is only one of many ways to listen inwardly. Okay. What about your habits? What about observing your patterns? What about your addictions? Are these things not giving you some messages? What about the way your body reacts in certain scenarios? What about certain health conditions, certain health markers are speaking to you about your life path? Okay, we're going to give you some examples. Okay, many people are using retail therapy, always going out and to buy something and bring something home, adding something to their life, as well as many people are overeating. This is telling you that you feel empty inside, isn't it? Isn't you're constantly going out and trying to add things to yourself? Isn't not wanting to stop eating when your body's telling you that you're full, just wanting more to fuel yourself? Isn't that an indicator that you feel empty inside? Someone's going to hear this and have a aha moment. Your spirit is bearing witness that what's being said is true, right? Isn't your constant anxiety telling you that you're not on the daily path, that you're not taking actions every day that are actually going to get you closer to the timeline that would best serve you? Isn't your anxiety telling you we're not taking steps on the path that's going to lead us to our ultimate joy, to the fulfillment of our mission? Aren't depressed thoughts, aren't thoughts that I don't want to live, I don't want to be here? Aren't those thoughts really indicating to you that you just want a fair opportunity to live freely, to live more fully? Aren't there messages in the emotions that come up for us? There are, right? Sometimes we need to just stop and listen to what our body, to what our consciousness is telling us through our body, through our perpetual patterns and habits, right? To the moods that we tend to fall into over and over again. But what happens is, thank you, someone said I love your necklace. Thank you. Thanks, Jatim. But what happens is that the moment that thought comes up, really for so many of us, it's before you really can even hear it fully. There's a cutoff, there's an interruption of judgment, internal judgment, right? Before your spirit can even say, I don't really know if I agree with you. You're cutting them off. You're interrupting yourself with a judgment, with a comparison to everything that you've been told that you should agree with, right? There's a judgment, a comparison to what you've seen online, to what you think you see someone else living. There's an instant comparison to the program. You should want this type of relationship. You should have this type of relationship by now, right? You should desire this type of home. You should desire this type of career. You should desire this type of car. You should desire a family. Right? You should look like this. You should speak like this. You should think like this. You should believe like that. Give me some hearts in the chat if they make sense to you. Right? If you can recognize that there are agendas after agendas being pushed at you every day, and it is difficult. You must be very intentional to separate out what about you does not align with that without judgment. Exactly. You should be successful by now. And that word successful is so loaded because there's a certain definition of what success means. It's ready-made and packaged of what you should believe that success is, and you should want it. Here's the definition of what success is, and you should want that. Right? It's like the double whammy. Hey, here's your definition of successful, and here's, you should desire it. You don't get to define it, just desire it, right? Yes, you should be married, you should be stable. And there are these built-in definitions of what your marriage should look like, right? There's only one right way for a marriage to look, right? There's only one way for stability to look. You should be stable, and here's how it looks. There's all these prepackaged notions, right? That will just only create, if we go into that, if we go along with that, that's going to create societies of people who all look the same. Clones. There's nothing within that that recognizes your individuality, your uniqueness, let alone your mission as a starseed. If you're drawn to this channel, if you find yourself being pulled back here week after week, you're a starseed. So you guys, we have to be really conscious, really mindful, really intentional about listening to the wise one within, right? I entitled this episode, Do You Hear Yourself? The wise one within. Yeah. So I'm seeing people in the chat saying, yes, star seeds, aliens, all the above, right? But we know that there's some difference between us and everything that we see around us. And we need to be more receptive to that. On this channel, I love to talk about love, and I'm talking about love tonight. Do you shut out and shut down and ignore and shame or judge someone that you love? No, right? That's not how you interact with someone that you truly love. When you love someone, you are interested. You are curious, right? Yes, Zena. So this is of the utmost importance. Listening within, inward listening, is an act of love for yourself. You have a child that you were raising, right? If you were raising a child, when that child comes to you and tells you their dreams and their thoughts and their ideas and their desires, you encourage that, right? You engage deeply in that question, in that conversation with them. You imagine and explore with them, right? Isn't that what a loving parent who's not living in fear does? You engage with that child, with their imagination. I see there are more people in the room. Please give us a greeting as you come in. Greetings, love magnets, right? But as the child comes to you, oh, I want to travel here. I want to be this when I grow up. I want to invent that. I want to invent the next rocket ship. Well, tell me about your rocket ship. Where is it going to go? What are you going to use for fuel? What's going to be different about your rocket ship? What color is it? Right? You engage with them with their imagination. It's an act of love, right? It's how it should be. But many times our parents were living in fear. Come on, somebody. I know many of us have had this experience. Your parents were living in fear. So when you were exploring and discovering yourself, you got a lot of no's, and you can't, and you shouldn't. Yes, Zena says, I want to be a teacher. The response is teachers don't make any money. Right? Parents say these things to children, right? And there's the response is full of judgment about, why you shouldn't desire what you truly desire. And many times we're taught in this way at an early age that our desires are wrong, or that we shouldn't dare to desire anything. But I'm inviting us all tonight to think back to the age of 7 or younger. 7 or younger. I'm inviting you to think about the things that you knew about yourself. We come here knowing who we are. Share with me in the chat some things that you knew about yourself at the age of 7 or younger. Many of you knew you had gifts. Many of you knew the adults around you were wrong or were totally insane, did not have the answers. Yes, I see I was a rock star. Absolutely. Absolutely. Many of you knew you were stars. You knew you were scientists. I knew I was a hero. Yes. Many of us knew that we had psychic gifts. Many of us knew we had gifts of healing. Many of us knew that we could communicate with animals. Many of us knew that we could write, or that we could draw, or that we could play instruments. I used to play the piano beautifully, until someone told me that I couldn't, until someone told me that I was supposed to have lessons. Right? So we are trained to stop engaging with ourselves, to stop hearing ourselves out. We're trained by all the no's, that you can't, you won't, you shouldn't, that you're not. All of those negative, those responses to the negative, we're trained to begin responding to ourselves negatively. Right? So then layer by layer, you're doing away with your individuality. So I'm inviting you to go deeper into a connection with your solar plexus, and even exploring the sacral and the root. These things that happen to us very young, where we are denied access to our own dreams, right? We're denied feelings of safety and security as we explore. Those are root chakra injuries. Those are experiences that make us begin to believe everything that we see around us, this 3D world, rather than heeding to the call into the 5D. We begin to forget who we really are. We begin to over-identify with this flesh and blood rather than being identified with the spirit. See, from the age of 7 and younger, like we came here knowing who we are as a spirit. But these experiences that you have train us to begin to forget. The trauma of those experiences cause us to begin to forget, because there are more things around you. The deeper you come into the understanding of and being able to interpret this world around you, if what's being fed to you to interpret is a bunch of no's, you begin to deny your connection to the realm from which you came. If this makes sense, give me some hearts in the chat. Yeah, thank you. I see the support, the agreement in the chat. This is what begins to happen when we get to the point where, and I wonder if on the other side there's some period, I would say some distance, because we know time doesn't really exist, but is there something that is equal to that age of 7? What is it that's so significant about that age? But why is it that around that age is when we begin to forget? Is it because of something, because of how long we are at a rest station, how long we are with source before coming into this reincarnation? Is that like a reflection of or a mirror of the amount of time in between reincarnations? Or is it just that's when you receive another aspect of your spirit? For me, that also feels true, right? And certain things that turn on in the physical brain, right? So it wakes up other aspects of your spirit. And if up until that time, if at that time, you're in an environment where you are receiving positive reinforcement of your spiritual gifts, children are doing amazing things at the age of 7 years old. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And really know who they are and have such a different understanding of the world around them. But if you're brought into a world of no, limitation rather than expansiveness, children begin to shut down and take on the program. Yes, I agree with that comment. You're indoctrinated by the age of 7. And yes, heartbroken by the age of 7. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So we really want to connect to and listen deeply. If you want to sit with this and do some meditation or some visualization, you can go into these 3 here: your solar plexus, your sacral, your root chakras, and examine what's there. Okay? Examine what's there. Examine your sense of individuality. Do you have a sense of self? Are you able to clearly define what sets you apart from everything around you, right? The elements of ego that are healthy, because we're told that all we need to kill the ego. Not all aspects of ego are bad. It's not. It's absolutely not. Your ego is part of what tells you to protect your physical body if someone tries to hurt you, to harm you. All right? That is an element, that is an aspect of ego. Okay, you need to have some sense of self and know what to protect. Yes, I love this comment, Firestar. Train the ego. Once identified, you can be its master like a pet. Absolutely. Okay, the way I like to say this is that many things that you have been taught about yourself, that you have been taught that are flaws, are actually tools of enlightenment. Actually tools. You need to set boundaries around those things and develop them. For example, someone with a quick temper, right? Someone that, tends to, snap back and clap back, or, bring order, right? Not afraid to set someone straight, right? You're a truth teller. Lies frustrate you. It's okay. You need to know how to control that. Surround that with compassionate boundaries and use it in the right situation. This world needs more truth. We need more truth. We need to embrace truth. Yes. I love this comment, Firestar. So, you guys, also going into the sacral, right? The seat of unconditional love for self, right? We have to learn to begin to love those aspects of ourselves that is different. Those aspects of ourselves that we are judging. We must love ourselves in spite of the ways in which we don't fit the mold, because the mold is killing the planet, humanity. The mold is not where it's at. It's time to wake up and break that mold. Agreed, Firestar. If you identify this, you'll watch people say the dumbest things and then smile like it was a resolution. Yes. Yes. So, you guys, that's it for tonight. We're past our 30-minute mark. If we have any questions, I'll take questions. If there's anyone that has a question and you'd like me to feel into the energy of it and help you come to some resolution, we can do that. If you want to add a question to the chat. But I thank you guys so much for the interaction tonight. Thank you so much for the confirmation and letting me know that this message is hitting for you tonight. We must begin to be more kind and more loving to ourselves by hearing ourselves. Begin to think of that inner voice as that innocent child, full of dreams, full of hopes. And begin to change that trend of meeting that child with criticism and judgment and fear, and training that child into criticism and judgment and fear. So thank you guys so much. I'm loving the conversation in the chat. We're out of time, so I'm not going to share everything. I don't see questions coming through, so we're going to end for tonight. We may do a part 2 next week. I'm going to be making that decision really soon. But thank you all so much for the love, for the inspiration. You guys, I do a local sound bath for women on Saturday mornings, and I'll be putting the link, the Eventbrite link, in the chat. So you guys can follow the page if you are local. If you are in Nashville, Tennessee, and would like to attend, we'd love to have you. But other than that, thank you all. No peace, peace and blessings, love, light to you all. And I will see you next week. Peace.